Hello and welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Jennifer Anderson, host of the show. I'm also the Executive Director of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce. We are talking today about the impact and the effects that COVID-19 is having on local businesses. And I am thrilled to have three local businesses and business owners joining me today. First, Robin Smith is the owner of 24/7 Energy Fitness here in Keswick. Hi, Robin.
Hello. Thanks for
Next,
here.
Thank you for being here. We also have the owner of Bailey's Homestead, John Bailey, and the restaurant is located right in the Georgina Ice Palace. Hi, John.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You have a number of titles as well, in terms of catering, in terms of the park store at Civil Point, and the snack bars at the Ice Palace and the Sutton Arena. We'll get to all of those later, but you're wearing many hats on any given day.
We do, yes.
Yes. And finally, we have the VP of Operations for CPG Aerospace, Mike Waddington. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
My pleasure. Glad to be here this morning.
And I should also mention you are the Ward 1 Councillor for Georgina. You are also the Council Rep for the Georgina Chamber of Commerce. We're thrilled to have you here as a business owner and offer your perspective there, but I know certainly you can offer some insight in terms of the entire town and what the town is going through. So I thank all of you for being here. As you all know, this was a show that was meant to start in the fall, and we were really creating a show with Rogers TV about business in Georgina and helping businesses. What we didn't realize, what nobody could realize, is there was a pandemic that we were about to go through, and the idea of now having a resource like this for local businesses was important. But, you know, certainly we're all in our own homes, we're all in our own businesses, and being able to connect. So it really is a sign of the times and technology. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with you, Robin. I want to know a little bit about your business. You have been a business owner, and actually you have a milestone anniversary that you are putting off to celebrate this year.
Yes, we were already starting to plan our 25th anniversary. That's in May. And of course, I'm hoping that just gets delayed by a few months and we can still celebrate that in the right year, at least.
Right. But 24/7 Energy Fitness is a fitness center that is here in Georgina.
Yep. And we're a co-ed fitness center, 24-hour access. With some classes and stuff like that as well. I mean, the bulk of our business is people who come in and do their own workouts. They lift heavy stuff and then they go home.
Right. And I know that, you know, when we started to get into, it wasn't even closures at that point, when we started to really hear that there was going to be some effects for businesses in our area because of the pandemic, you were already making changes to what you were doing.
Absolutely. I mean, a gym has, the reality is a lot of sweaty people, right? So our cleaning procedures are always very high, but we stepped that up. And a big thing that we noticed was that the members were really stepping up and doing their part and sanitizing the equipment and everything as well.
Right.
So I was very impressed with that. I hope they continue when we open.
Right. And with the essential businesses and that list of essential businesses, you have since closed the doors temporarily.
Yes. We closed a few days ahead of that list coming out. It became apparent that it was just absolutely the right thing to do. So we were 3 or 4 days ahead of that. And I've owned the gym for almost 14 years, and I have to tell you, that's a pretty emotional thing to do, to close your doors and not really know when you're opening them again.
Yeah. And I think that is an emotion that a lot of people weren't expecting, obviously, to feel, but a lot of people are feeling those different emotions about something that they work very hard on and are very proud of.
Yeah.
John, let's talk about the hats that you wear. You wear a number, including a chef hat.
Yes, sure, not a problem. So yes, my wife and I own Bailey's Homestead, located at the Ice Palace. We also we started many years ago with a catering company called Sunset Beach Catering. We sort of built up to where it is now, and it's in transition between the catering and the restaurant. We typically want to merge them together. But then we've also we're privileged enough to take over the account at Sybil's Point Provincial Park, where we run the merchandise store and the snack bar there as well during the season. So it's we and as well as with the restaurant comes the snack bars at the arenas, because we have a great landlord and partner, which is the town of Georgina, and we've re-upped. We're here for another 5 years, and we're looking forward to it. But we are in a little bit of what do we do now? How do we go forward? What is it going to look like? But I'm very optimistic. I keep that. Our business is going to rebound. We're going to keep doing what we can to be part of the community and go from there. So
Right. There have been a few of those things that you mentioned are closed as a result of town buildings being closed. That would then limit the snack bars, and the park at Sybil Point is closed as well. The restaurant does remain open.
it does, yes. We are open for takeout, and we have a program set up due to this where you call in your order, and then we schedule pickup times, so we don't have people in here more than one person picking up. So it's like anywhere in between 10 to 15 minute pickup window. So people that like to eat at 6 o'clock, if they call in early, we can meet those dates, but those times. But we really limited to how many people come through the door. The restaurant is sort of barriered off. All the chairs are up on the tables, and it's just me in here doing the cooking, and then able to take the calls and place the orders.
Right. And I do want to ask a few more questions about that in a moment. But first, let's talk a little bit about CPG. Mike, I had the honor and pleasure of taking a tour through your facility, which was amazing to me, the work that's being done. Talk to people about what your business is.
Oh, thanks for saying that, Jen. We are a manufacturer of detailed components and small assemblies, primarily for the aerospace industry. We also do some work for medical mobility as well as military as well. We were the 2012 York Region Small Business of the Year. A couple of years ago, we were New Markets Employer of the Year, and we are currently operational.
You are operational?
We are still operating at full capacity.
Very good. So there's obviously been a little bit of an effect because of the pandemic, but you are, is your business considered an essential?
Yeah, almost all manufacturing was, but even if we weren't directly in that sense, we supply to customers that are specifically declared essential as well, so that keeps us going.
Right. Very good. For all of you, I know it's such a hard time. Can you talk, and Robin, you mentioned this a little bit, talk about emotionally how this is affecting you. I mean, it's very difficult. And I know people say on a daily basis, it's, any given hour, you're okay, you're not okay. This is frustrating. We're going to get through this. So how are you all feeling?
Well, I think almost any emotion that you can think of is one that I've gone through, and probably every business owner. A lot of fear. We didn't know how long, we still don't know how long it's going to be, but even that initial time period where it was only going to be a couple of weeks, I thought, that's 2 weeks with zero revenue, and that happened overnight, right? And of course, the bills still have to get paid. So there's a lot of fear around that, a lot of relief when some of the supports were announced, and then the fear with whether or not you're going to qualify for those. Business owners, all of us put a lot of ourselves into what we do. And, when you sit back and think, I might lose that now, I guess that's grief, right? We don't know what it's going to look like when this is all over.
Right. Do you feel the same way, Mike? Is it?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with everything that Robin said there. As business owners, we kind of write our own destiny, and it's times like this where there's a level of uncertainty that we can't control. So for me specifically, like I had already said, we're still operating, but for the first few weeks of this, before those essential business lists came out, I was going into work each day wondering if I was going to be able to employ everybody tomorrow. And once those essential business lists came out and it was determined that we'd be still able to fully operate, I started getting a little more sleep, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's one of the questions I ask, because certainly each of you are not just an entrepreneur, not just a business owner, but you are employing employees in this community. So now it's a certain level of responsibility for other people, and just feeling that overwhelming stress of being responsible. John, you have are your employees more seasonal? Some of them, you obviously ramp up at certain times.
Yeah, well, yes and no. That's a two-part question, obviously. The way our business is structured with the snack bars, as we close them down, which we typically close them down around the time of the home show, the start of May, when the hockey...
We're not allowed to mention the home show, John. It's still a bit of a sore point for me.
That makes two of us. But we typically close down when the hockey community and the figure skating community sort of vacate the building for a few months. But what we do is we take our staff from those snack bars and move them to Sybyl's Point. So they're really not seasonal workers. They're just working in different venues throughout the season. So
Right.
They're pretty well our full-time employees. Now there's a lot of them that are students that, hopefully we can help out moving forward, but they've got a lot of uncertainties with their schooling and all that other stuff. So we're doing what we can to help them. We're hoping some of the business that we are getting, and if this wage subsidy comes out, we may be able to bring some on for a part-time basis, but it really matters, especially when we get to the park. Are they open? Are people coming? What can we do to even have them there?
Right.
The unknowns, right?
Right. Just a little sidebar, because I know with us, the Chamber always runs the home show. You are always open for the weekend. And I'm always very jealous because we work hours and hours to put the event together. And we know that you are crazy busy leading up to that with skating, with hockey. And then you always, after the home show, go on vacation. And I'm always jealous of that week vacation. So even personally, the things that are happening right now are affecting those type of situations.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. We've made a point to do a family vacation in between that transition for us, go away for my wife's birthday, and we celebrate, and we just decompress. And, it's going to be different. We've done that for the last 6 years. So it's going to be a little different. But again, we're going to keep plugging forward.
Right. Robin, certainly with the gym being closed, employees are not at work.
Correct. I laid off all of my hourly employees. And of course, I have a lot of subcontractor employees as well, all of my instructors and trainers. So they don't get it laid off, but of course, they're certainly noticing the lack of income, right?
Right. And you, Mike, as well. How many employees do you have?
We got 40 people at our facility. Haven't laid off anybody yet. The intention is to not lay off anybody, and we'll plow through this.
Right. Certainly with the introduction of financial aid on different levels of government, I think all of the different levels of government have provided announcements over the last few weeks about relief programs, incentive programs, and certainly the federal government is offering with CERB and with the wage subsidy and loans. I think there is that sense, and you use the word relief. Each of you use the word relief. There is that relief that's coming through, and people are starting to see that in their bank account. Robin, this is certainly the case for you as well.
Yes, it is. And I'm very grateful and very fortunate that my business was one that did qualify for the interest-free loan. The process was incredibly simple once it was announced and available. And that will get me through a few months. So it was, as soon as I saw that you've been approved, I felt like I could breathe again. And I can cover some expenses and keep our fingers crossed that, we're able to open our doors in a few weeks.
Well, and that is something that businesses need to hear. And when you say simple, I've heard it's just a couple of questions, simple. So the process is pretty easy to navigate once you get into the system.
Yes, and of course, understanding what the qualifications are ahead of time is very important. As I said, I was a fortunate business that I pay employees on a payroll, so I met that payroll stipulation. I know that a lot of small businesses don't pay their people that way, or they don't pay themselves via a payroll, and unfortunately, they won't qualify for that.
No, not under the current. And I should say, we are taping this on April 13th because, programs change and the stipulations for each of the programs have evolved over the last few weeks. So just want to be clear, as we're taping this is current, the information that's being relayed to us. Perfect. John, have you looked into some of those programs?
Yes, we have. Some of our staff has qualified for CERB. And as well, the TD Bank we deal with, the postings are there for the loan. But we also partner with South Lake Futures, and they helped us build the business. So they've reached out and they're doing some stuff for us as well with support. And we sort of put that support in play a few months ago, even as late as the end of last year, before it all started. So we were able to secure some credit and some stuff like that if we need it, it's there, and we can move forward. But the loans are great. Everybody that can qualify, it's in our business as business owners, who wants another loan? But it's there. It's something that your dreams are being shut down out of your control, and there's something at least to get you back or over that transition period.
Right, you're absolutely right. And Mike, I certainly know you as a business owner and as a counselor are constantly looking at the information and the resources that are available to businesses.
Yeah, it's interesting how fluid it is and how frequently things are changing. As far as qualifying for anything, we haven't looked into the loan yet. The way that my business partner and I have run the business has generally been in the black, always been in the black since the financial situation that hit everybody in the late 2000s. So it's not something that we're going to pursue. One of the things that we did look at was one of the first relief programs that came out, the 10% wage subsidy up to $20,000 as a cap, not per employee. And we definitely qualified for that, and we're going to make use of that. The 75% wage subsidy that the House just voted on Saturday, I think is going to be a fantastic program. We're not going to qualify for it for March, and we'll see how long this program lasts, but we'll likely be qualifying for it either next month or the month after.
Well, and that's just it too, that, each of the qualifications, there's a lot of information that's being given right now about the length of time. However, we keep seeing those extensions because you're right. We don't know what the future holds, and we don't know what businesses are going to need. The resources are fantastic right now. What are your thoughts on getting through this? Because, for a lot of people, for a lot of businesses, they're not seeing it as the next couple of months. They're seeing rebuilding in the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, and you've hit the nail on the head. It's not going to turn around. The financial impact of this is not going to be done within a few weeks, and it's a sad situation to realize that. We're likely going to be looking at a 12 to 18-month time frame, easy. And that's if we can get this under control. It's a sad reality that a lot of businesses are not going to be able to make it through this. So it doesn't matter what kind of program the government can release, any level of government, businesses are going to change, and this is going to force it. And people will need to adapt. And, business owners are generally very good at that, and that's why they're business owners.
Right. And that's not, what you're saying is a negative. And I hope you're wrong. I hope the 12 to 18, I know nobody knows, but I do hope that that is wrong, that it's shorter. But businesses are adapting as a result. Some, it's going to be negative, that impact, and some are having a positive. Like, for example, these conference calls, like, being able to do things in a different way. And each of you are doing things differently. You are adapting and you're remodeling your business. John, certainly you have changed with the chairs up. You have changed your business format right now to accommodate.
Yeah, exactly right. And just by doing that, we're getting great support with this community. This community is amazing. Everybody that has, you go back to those small businesses donating to the sports charities and all of the charities, and they're coming back. And I really hope not a lot of businesses do feel that loss, but it's a reality. So for us, we're doing family style meals just to, take off that burden, because there is still a lot of people that are working, but now don't have time to run out to the store or can't wait in a line to go to the store. So we're getting the support from that, and it's sort of opened our eyes on a new avenue for our business, is making the catering and the restaurant come together, and let's cater families of 4. Let's do that. We don't need the 200 people catering events. You can do the family of 4. You can change it up. You can be creative. And as long as our suppliers, which are right now are great and they're still delivering, without lots of layoffs in the big corporate world, we're going to keep going there, and we're bringing out different things. And who would have thought we'd retail at a restaurant?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just that involvement.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Robin, you have gone social, more social than ever before.
Yes, the social media part of it is really to stay connected to our members. I am renting or loaning some equipment to our members, and so communicating those pieces. But I'm posting workouts and things that are designed for people to do at home. I know a lot of other fitness businesses, the ones that are more class-based than what mine is, are actually doing your online membership, and they're doing fitness classes over Zoom. So there we go. The digital media is helping them too.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how we're going to end this Zoom conference, with you doing some exercise for the 3 of us.
Oh, no.
You forgot to tell me that in advance.
Yeah, no. Mike, talk to me about evolving a little bit of your business. Shields are being made, masks are being made, and talk about CPG's involvement with that.
Okay, so early on in this, a number of weeks ago, a good friend of mine who also runs a business called DPI in Newmarket had reached out to me with an idea for making face guards, like shields, so that it would protect healthcare workers' faces. We'd been looking at a lot of designs, and over a few days, tweaked it to the point where his organization is now making tens of thousands of these things, about as cheap as you can make them, which is nice. So if I'll give a plug out to the COVID Shield and Jeff Mayhew at DPI.
Very good. And we're seeing a lot of that. It's, and I know that's a business in Newmarket, it's businesses in York Region, businesses in Georgina are really stepping up. And I'm sitting amongst people who are very proud of Georgina, very proud and active members of this community. But you must be seeing it all around you. In kind of the dark stories, there's also stories of support and giving, and just people being really proud of this community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how people have taken a negative and turned it into a positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to, right? You can't always dwell on something that's bad, especially when it's lasting this long. It'll kill you.
Yeah. As we go through the changes, are you finding that you have the support in the businesses around you? And I know, John, you mentioned suppliers right now are still able to provide. You are still able to maintain business as usual because those suppliers are open. Are you seeing any kind of change in what they're able to provide you? John's frozen here. I'm going to head over to Mike because I know you have the same. You have, if it's business as usual, you have suppliers who are bringing in equipment for you and materials for you to use.
So I've never been a fan of just-in-time way of operating a business. So we don't operate in the sense that the material that I'm using tomorrow came in yesterday. So we had a pretty good storage of what we had. But the reality is that the supply chain is drying up, and it's awkward because of the fact that we're not necessarily getting information ahead of time that they're no longer operating, which is
right.
Which is a surprise.
Right, and becomes a little bit of a day by day.
Yeah, honestly, it's a struggle. Just to give you an example, we have one company that does a subcontract for us where we take a product, they do the next stage, and then send it back to us to complete. And we sent it down to them, and the delivery driver got there, and they were closed. Didn't tell us that they were going to be closing. No idea when they're reopening.
Right. We lost John for a minute. He was off making some stuff at the restaurant, but you're back.
Had to take an order. I apologize for that.
No, it's business as usual, sir. You got to keep going.
We try.
Yeah. We were talking about suppliers, but also in terms of, tourism. And having suppliers come in once we kind of hit, what do you see for tourism season? Is it really a waiting game for you right now?
It is. Typically this time of year, we're starting to prep and get our supplies in and merchandise our store at Sybil's. We've been in contact with them, and right now the mandate is nothing happens before the end of April. So I would expect that, it's still changing. Right. And then, if this is, Canada Day is what, let's say we're going to maybe come back to the new normal. What is that going to do? Like, sure, we're open, but are people going to be there? So it's still the unknown right now. Right. And it's a wait and see on that side. It's going to hurt the whole community. We're at a tourist community.
Right. On that note, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I really appreciate the fact that each of you have come on and been candid about your businesses, because I know the struggles are real and they're happening to everybody. So it's nice for other businesses to be able to watch this program and know that they aren't alone. So thank you so much for you being on the show, and for everybody. We'll see you next time on Mind Your Business.